Have you ever pondered how a simple act of kindness can transform a life dramatically? The power of kindness is truly extraordinary. It's like a pebble thrown into a pond, creating ripples that reach far beyond the initial splash. One act, one moment of kindness can have an impact that echoes throughout the world. Kindness is not just about grand gestures, it's also about the small, seemingly insignificant acts of compassion we can all perform every day. Holding a door open, offering a smile, lending a listening ear. These are the deeds that, when multiplied by millions of people, can change the world in profound ways. The purpose of our video journey today is to share with you real-world examples of extraordinary acts of kindness. Stories that will touch your heart, stir your soul, and perhaps inspire you to create your own ripples of kindness. Now prepare to be inspired by these heartwarming stories of kindness and generosity. Imagine a businessman who, instead of focusing solely on profits, decides to use his fortune to uplift others. Meet our protagonist, a successful entrepreneur who built an empire from scratch. As he ascended the ladder of success, his heart remained grounded, firmly rooted in empathy and compassion. This businessman, for the purpose of our story, we'll call him Mr. Kindheart. Mr. Kindheart was no ordinary tycoon. He was a man who understood the power of education and the doors it could open for young minds. One day, he made a decision that would change the course of many lives. In a small town there was a high school brimming with bright students, each with dreams as vast as the sky. Yet for many, the cost of college education was an insurmountable barrier. The dreams of these young minds were at the risk of being just that, dreams. In the shadows Mr. Kindheart had been observing. He saw the potential, the ambition, the drive, and he decided to act. Unknown to the graduating class, he committed to funding college scholarships for each one of them. An entire wave of students suddenly free to chase their dreams without the burden of financial constraints. The news of the anonymous benefactor spread like wildfire. The students were overjoyed, their families relieved. Dreams that seemed distant were now within their grasp. The generosity of one man had uplifted an entire community. But the story doesn't end there. The humility of Mr. Kindheart was as profound as his generosity. He chose to remain anonymous, a silent guardian angel. His only request was for the students to embrace the spirit of giving and pass it on when they were able. Fast forward a few years, these students, now successful professionals, remembered the kindness bestowed upon them. Inspired by their anonymous benefactor, they too began to help others in need, spreading the seeds of generosity far and wide. His generosity didn't just pay for their education, it inspired them to pay it forward in their own unique ways. And so, the ripple effect of Mr. Kindheart's kindness continues, proving that a single act of generosity can indeed change the world. Our next story unfolds on a cold winter night when a homeless man found warmth, not just in a blanket but in an act of kindness. Picture this, on a frosty winter evening, a woman encounters a homeless man huddled against the biting wind. Instead of hurrying past, she pauses, her heart moved by his plight. This is not just a tale of a woman buying a homeless man a meal. This is a story of human connection, compassion, and the profound impact of a simple act of kindness. In the biting cold, the woman buys the man a warm meal, a gesture that fills his stomach and warms his heart. But she doesn't stop there. She purchases a thick, cozy blanket, offering him a shield against the winter chill. Yet the most precious gift she gives him is not material. It's her time, her genuine concern, and her willingness to listen. She sits with him, ignoring the icy wind, engaging him in conversation. He talks about his life, his dreams, and his despair. She listens, not with pity, but with empathy, treating him not as an outcast, but as a fellow human being. And that's when the magic happens. Her kindness, her respect, and her recognition of his humanity become a beacon of hope in his bleak world. The warmth of her generosity penetrates the frosty walls he'd built around himself. In that moment, he feels seen, he feels heard, he feels valued. This act of kindness stirs something deep within the man. It ignites a spark of hope, a belief that he, too, can change his circumstances. Inspired by her compassion, he finds the courage to turn his life around. From that cold winter night, he embarks on a journey towards a better life, fueled by the kindness of a stranger. And so, a single act of kindness becomes a life-altering force. The woman's generosity does not just feed him for a day, it feeds his soul, it fuels his dreams, it gives him the strength to fight his battles. Her act of kindness didn't just provide him with a meal, it gave him hope and the courage to change his life. Sometimes an act of kindness can mean the difference between life and death. Imagine this. A woman in the prime of her life finds herself facing a devastating diagnosis. Her kidneys are failing, and without a transplant, her future is uncertain. She is a stranger to most, just another face in the crowd, but to one man she becomes a cause worth fighting for. This man, let's call him John, had always been the kind to help others. He donated to charities, volunteered at local shelters, and always offered a helping hand to those in need. But when he heard of the woman's plight, he felt a tug at his heartstrings. He knew he could do more. John decided to get tested, to see if he could be the lifeline this woman so desperately needed. And as fate would have it, he was a match. He was a perfect stranger with no obligation or personal connection to this woman, yet he chose to give a part of himself, quite literally, to save her life. Think about that for a moment. Most of us go through life hoping to make a difference, to leave a mark. But how many of us are willing to make such a sacrifice for a stranger? John's act of kindness was more than just a donation. It was a testament to the incredible capacity humans have for compassion and selflessness. The woman, let's call her Jane, was overwhelmed with gratitude. She had been given a new lease on life, all thanks to the kindness of a stranger. She couldn't thank John enough. Their lives, once separate, were now forever intertwined. John's kidney donation was a life-saving act of kindness that went beyond the ordinary. It was a demonstration of the extraordinary depth of human generosity. But more than that, it was a reminder that every act of kindness, no matter how small or large, has the power to change lives. His act of kindness not only saved a life but also created a bond between two strangers that will last a lifetime. Each of these stories is a testament to the transformative power of kindness. From the magnanimous businessman who turned a profit into philanthropy, to the stranger whose kindness bridged the gap between two worlds, to the selfless individual whose life-saving donation epitomizes altruism. These narratives are not just tales of extraordinary kindness, they're lessons, teaching us that every act of generosity, no matter how small, can create a profound impact. Each act of kindness is a pebble tossed into a pond. The ripples extend far beyond the initial splash, touching lives in ways we may never fully comprehend. It's a reminder that our actions have consequences, and when we choose to act with kindness, those consequences can be beautiful. Let's take these lessons to heart. Let's turn the mundane into the extraordinary, and the ordinary into the unforgettable. Remember, every act of kindness creates a ripple with no logical end. So, let's cause ripples that reach every corner of the world. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to share this video to inspire others with these extraordinary tales of kindness.